Afternoon, good morning, and good evening wherever you are, considering the time zone of where everybody of you is. Today, I've decided that I want to raise my voice through this channel, and the name of the channel is the African Voice. This channel wants to talk about Africa. We want to create a sense of patriotism to the people of Africa. We want the new generation to come up knowing the history of Africa, knowing the potential of Africa. Because if you look at the potential of Africa, the African potential is so high compared to these other continents. But we lack some sense of patriotism. We don't believe in ourselves. We want to believe in other people more than ourselves. But I believe that when we believe in ourselves as Africans, then we will make this beautiful continent a great continent. In this voice of Africa, we want to speak the ills that has been done to the people of Africa. We want to speak out our voices. We've been seeing leaders trying to unite since the days of independence, since those days that we were fighting independence. Now it is almost 60-something years since most of the African countries attained independence. But until now, some of the African countries are still lagging behind in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education, in terms of development as a whole. So we need to sit down and discuss. We will be discussing in this channel. We will be talking in this channel. We'll be touching everywhere that it's needed to be touched, so that we bring a sense of patriotism, and we want to send a message to the people of Africa. We want to educate the people of Africa. So we want to make Africanism into us to be our business. Once we do that and we come together, then we'll make Africa great. In this channel, we will speak about the atrocities that the people have done to us. Since those days, 60 plus years ago, when we were fighting for our independence, and 100 years or so, those are years that our forefathers suffered, died, and shed blood just to make sure that the new generation that was coming after them will live a good life. But look us now. Look at us right now as Africans. We have tried to make some steps, but I believe that those steps are not enough. We could have been very far away, but there are things that have dragged us behind. First is poor leadership from some of our leaders. I cannot say that all of them, they are poor in leadership, but some of them will start well, then they will reach a place. There are very many factors that we need, that is considered, or there are factors, many factors in and outside Africa that are making some of our leaders to fail in leadership. You cannot tell me 50 years plus after independence, we don't have hospitals, we don't have good roads. In general, we don't have the infrastructure to build Africa. It's very painful that until now, we still believe that we cannot work on ourselves, that we have to wait for other countries to come and help us. Without us, these countries that we think that they're superior to us, without us, if you go back to the history, some of them have been built because of Africa. If you look at people like Patrice Lumumba, he died fighting for the African people. There's a story behind it. With the time, we'll be touching each and every country during colonization, during those times of colonization, during independence, and now. Because we have a very long history and we have suffered. Our forefathers died because of this. Until now, there is another way of colonization that has come to Africa. If you're very keen, you will see how we have been divided in one way or another. We have been divided in a way that we don't believe in our African brothers. And you remember, we didn't have these boundaries to call ourselves, oh, this is Nigeria, this is Uganda, this is Mozambique, this is South Africa. We just had one nation. But because they wanted to conquer us, because they wanted to control us, because they wanted to manipulate us, they brought boundaries. And these boundaries create some sense of like hatred. If you want to travel to Europe, sometimes it's very easy than traveling to African countries, which to me, it could be free, no visa required, no this, traveling sometimes it's very difficult to African countries than going to Europe. So I want to bring a message to the African people that we can do away with all these things and make Africa one great nation. We've had people who have tried to fight for this, but they didn't make it. The latest person who tried to do this is Muammar Gaddafi. And when he tried to raise his voice about trying to bring Africa together and creating one currency for Africa, if you're a good student of history, you can know what happened to him. We don't want that to happen. We don't want one leader to push such things. We want the whole of Africa to push. I'm very happy if I see Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali coming together. They are sending a message to other African countries that you can stand on your own. Let us stand on our own. Let us fight for Africa. Let us fight for our children. Because we need to make some changes. Those that have fought and brought us where we are right now, we thank them. Let us not go back to the mistakes that some of our forefathers, some of our leaders did. We need to, because right now we are educated. We know what is right and we know what is wrong. Those who are fighting for money and power, these things comes and goes. We had people like Mobutu Sese Seko. Where are they right now? So let us bring Africa together. Let us use the resources of Africa to build Africa. Because if we use the African resources well, if we distribute these resources amongst us by building roads, by building hospitals, by making sure that our people don't sleep hungry. It's so painful that in Africa, until now, some of the people are dying because of hunger. And we were blessed with a very beautiful land, very fertile land, and enough rain, enough sunshine to plant and have our own food. But we want to believe that these other countries will help us. Let us not believe with help from others. Somebody cannot just come and help you for free. Nothing is for free. We fight for ourselves. I have very good examples of leaders who tried not to get things from other countries. We have a leader like the leader of Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara tried his best. The few years he was a leader, he was the president of Burkina Faso, and he really tried. He did not take any loans from outside because he knew that those loans are the things that are putting us into bondage. So he had a dream to make Africa great. As Lucky Dube said, that together as one, we need to be together as Africans. In this channel, the African Voice, we are going to fight for the independence of Africa. We are not independent yet. For those who believe that Africa is independent, we are wrong. We need to be independent. That's why I've said Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, they are bringing a new sense of independence. That is where we want to go. That's where we want other African countries to be. We need to come together. One country cannot fight on its own. They need support from the Africans. This African Union must be for the African Union. Sometimes this African Union, it's being fought from outside, and these are the things that we don't want. So if I see the examples of Niger, Burkina Faso, I feel very great that there is a sense of patriotism in these leaders. And these are young leaders that have seen what is happening. So for us coming here and talking about this, I'll change one or two mindsets of people, of African people, that let us just believe in ourselves. We will make Africa great. This channel will fight and will speak to bring Africans together. Please subscribe. Let's make this channel great. Share. Let Africans, let us talk. Please put your comment. Let's talk about Africa. Write something, encourage, and let's make Africa great. Please subscribe. Thank you very much.